Get into the action all summer long. Listen to that. Summer.
Woo!
The season's over. The NHL season's over. The NBA season's over. But there's still lots happening at Sports Interaction, including we got the draft coming up. We got free agency coming up for both of those sports, plus tennis, golf, whatever it is you're into, baseball, all happening right now at sportsinteraction.com/SDPN.
You can bet on those things. You can bet on free agency and draft.
Exactly. And we're going to actually throw a bunch of props up in the Dangles Doozy section as well. And remember, everything's you can do before games, live and play all summer long. Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN or download the app to get started. It's 19 plus. Please play responsibly. Philadelphia Flyers have placed defenseman Tony DeAngelo on unconditional waivers. So it looks like the trade to Carolina is not happening.
Excuse me?
Which might mean that Erik Karlsson might be a Carolina Hurricane.
Whoa. Wait.
Maybe.
Wait, though. So we made a big deal of Philip Zadina walking away from something like $4 or $5 million. Tony DeAngelo has another, isn't it?
This isn't for purpose of termination.
No, this is not a mutual.
Yeah, this isn't termination.
This is a buyout.
This is they sent him down.
This would be
After a year?
This would be his second buyout after a year. By the
Chuck
way.
Fletcher should just...
He hold on. The Rangers bought Tony DeAngelo out after his first year as well.
Oh, my
His
God.
first big extension.
How isn't that poison? How is it like someone's going to sign him after this? How isn't that poison? How isn't that the end of it? I don't understand. He signs a deal with a multi-year deal with the Rangers.
Yeah.
They buy him out after year one.
Yep.
He plays 1 year in Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Then he signs in Philly. Mm-hmm. So he did great in Carolina. Didn't get bought out even once.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Gets traded to Philly, signs his contract there, and after 1 year, he's getting bought out.
Yep.
How isn't that the end of it?
I mean, I don't know if it's the end. To be honest, the other way to look at it with Tony DeAngelo is that
It's just bad value.
well, yeah,
the buyout makes so much sense.
that
is it?
Philadelphia did not want this player, not because necessarily they didn't like the player or whatever. It doesn't fit where they're at, and it was the last GM's guy, and it's not this GM's guy. Like, forget Tony's history with the buyouts. Don't forget Tony's history.
I was like, well,
I think in the sense that he obviously is clearly an NHL defenseman in the right position. It's just that this is a flat cap league, and we're going to talk about this actually with the Capitals as well and how much trouble they're having. They can't find a taker for this guy, even at 50% retained, because $2.5 million is double and a half how much the cap went up for each team this year. And he's a $5 million defenseman, 50% retained, $2.5 million. Everybody's cap went up $1 million. It's hard to sign. Hard to trade a guy like that. Go ahead, Jesse.
The buyout penalties here. So this year it'll cost them $1.66667 million against the cap, and the same amount next year. So they'll save $3.3333 million on the cap this year, and since they'll incur a cap hit, they'll negative savings next year. But only 1.6 against the cap for the next 2 years to buy out the $5 million contract of Tony DeAngelo, and there's not more info on that tweet from Philly, so maybe they are working on a mutual termination, because the first things you got to do is place them on unconditional waivers, and then the second step is the buyout or the mutual termination. So maybe they are working on that and they're letting him go somewhere else. I don't know. We just need more news. Oh my gosh!
I can't remember the last. It sounds like it might come Fast and Furious.
We'll see.
If this is what is happening, and he was linked to the whole Erik Karlsson thing. I knew it. I freaking knew it. I knew it the second I said this is going to be the last show. I knew it.
Shut up.
No,
you were trying to will news into existence.
Wake up, sheeple!
Yeah.
And they're listening. They're right there. Wake up, sheeple! I can't remember what I was going to say, but it's a reasonable buyout for Philly. I will say that.
Yeah, it was buyout or termination. We'll see.
Do you think
That deal, the butterfly effect we talked about last episode, that CBA rule changes the trajectory of a lot of stuff.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. I can't think of.
It is the purpose of contract, according to
go.
Cap Friendly, contract termination.
There you go. Wow.
Not
a buyout.
1 year left. Will forfeit $5 million. It looks like he said. It looks like he's betting on him. He's doing the Zadina.
He's willing to walk away from that. Wow.
So the buyout would have made sense. What would the buyout have looked like, Jesse?
I just went.
You
through
just
it.
did? Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. I was pulling up. I was digging to find, like, is there any reporters not in Muskoka
No,
right now? I'm sorry, that's literally what I was
Okay, that's okay. The mutually terminated contract that's crazy.
Damn, I can't believe Danny Briere got him to do that.
That's crazy.
Fucking masterclass
Well-
in Philly right now.
Because you have to agree. Don't want this $5 million.
This is how, like, listen, we keep talking about how the NHL isn't doing well compared to its, counterparts. And people are like, do you even like hockey? And this is what we're talking about. The cap tied to the success of the league has been so poor and so shit for so long that at the first sign the cap is going to go up, players are willing to walk away from literally millions of dollars because of the opportunities that are on the horizon, assuming there isn't another global pandemic. Philip Zadina walked away from something like $4 or $5 million guaranteed dollars. And Tony DeAngelo is walking away from what is it?
$5 million.
Exactly
million
five.
dollars.
He's walking away from $5 million for 1 year of work.
And his buyout number, if he had made it, Jesse, would have been, even if he didn't walk away and they bought him out, he forced a buyout.
How much money he would get?
Yeah.
Uh,
Couple mil?
Initial cap it, buyout costs, post buyout earnings, savings, cap it. I don't know. Where's
It's on the furthest right, I believe.
the cap it annual cost? I guess
Annual cost.
he would make the 1.6 million of the buyout. Yeah. So he'd make 1.6 this year and next year.
Like
there you go.
he needs so.
It's about 3.1.
John
3.2.
Klingberg
3.2.
signed for 4.15. Like Tony DeAngelo doesn't even need that to be made whole between the buyout and whatever he's going to make this season, assuming he signs somewhere. And then the years going forward with the cap going up, it's fascinating. Now,
Does Philly have somebody else or somebody who is in what's the RFA negotiation called?
arbitration.
Because then they'll have that second buyout window.
I want to say they signed both their guys.
So they might not have had the second buyout window.
Yeah, they signed Cates, and I can't remember who their other was. I want to say they had two.
Okay.
Now, I don't want to bring it here, but yesterday we found out Alex Galchenyuk was on unconditional waivers
Yep.
for
Purpose of
contract termination. We're looking at this Tony DeAngelo thing as purely hockey. The Flyers making a decision and DeAngelo making a decision. We just got the news. We just don't know that.
Right.
We don't know that. But what a fascinating time. What a fascinating time to follow this sport. Let's assume that's exactly what happened. It's purely hockey.
Yeah.
DeAngelo's done it. Zadina's done it. It's only July 14th. Who knows? Maybe another player chooses to walk away from millions of dollars
It's funny.
because they don't like their current contract.
You call it fascinating, but I would have I want to see like trades that happen for hockey reasons instead of like this to me speaks to something else. Like I don't feel like these transactions are the best for the game. Like, try to
sucks.
explain this to a casual fan. Like what happened? A dude just isn't on the team anymore.
It's not entertaining.
Like, Like so I don't know. I feel like the NHL screws itself with these kinds of rules and the salary cap and all that stuff because it should just be a lot simpler. It should just be like trades and signings and big deals and all that kind of stuff. But instead we have guys just walking away and putting on waivers and them agreeing instead of taking $3.2 million to just give up $5 million. That's so complicated.
I do this on my dad all the time. I try to explain like the basic ongoings of the NHL, and every time as I'm explaining it, I'm like, "This is fucking stupid."
I can see my wife's eyes glazing over.
Yeah.
She likes the hockey part of hockey.
Yeah, for me, that's my sister who's just like casual. She listens to us, but she's a casual. She doesn't understand like the CBA and all that stuff. And it's like if we can't explain these things in a sentence to these people, or just say the thing that happened, and their reaction is "Whoa," then it's a little too complicated.
Yeah. Now, again,
But there's also the hardcore audience that you should serve.
So I think that there is.
Yes.
I think that there is a. There's an interesting play here because there are teams that can afford this and would want this. Like I told you last episode, Anaheim has 2 NHL defensemen on the right side under contract. and they're under the cap floor.
Wasn't DeAngelo linked to them?
Might have been. I don't know. But there are obviously places, and I'm sure the agent called around and said, if he becomes an unrestricted free agent, would you sign him? I'm sure they have a plan in place, and so it will be interesting to see where he ends up, because it's just not a fit with the Flyers. But there was enough value that Carolina was actually going to part with one of its unsigned prospects from the NCAA, Massimo Rizzo, who's pretty good.
Yeah, winner of the 2023 award for most Italian.
Who won it in 2022?
That would be my mom.
Your mom.
Clementina.
I don't know. I think it'll be fascinating to see where he ends up. And I guess it is kind of, I wasn't going to start here, but it kind of plays into what's going on in Washington right now. Getting Kuznetsov, it was reported in the Russian press that he had requested a trade in February or March. He never confirmed it nor denied it, but Brian McClellan actually did with Capitals.com writers the other day. He said, I'd still like to make a trade. We were aggressive at the draft with our offers, but nothing materialized. I feel we have some pretty good offers out there, and guys we're pursuing haven't moved yet. I don't know if they move them now or when they move. Maybe at the deadline. I'm not sure what happens. Some guys need to be signed, so I'll stay involved with all that stuff. So it looks like the Caps are not only ready to move on from Kuznetsov, who's been a Capital for a long, long time, but also Anthony Mantha, who
that hasn't worked.
It has not worked.
That's a really tantalizing player who, I mean, this is a lazy comparison just because they're both big and skilled, but you look at him and go, why can't you be Tage Thompson? Like, why you have the tools, or looked like you could one day have that, and it's wild that we're having that conversation given the Tage Thompson discourse from just 2 years ago. This guy's washed, but I really had high hopes for Mantha.
One more thing, it looks like the story, the DeAngelo story is moving.
Ongoing.
It's ongoing. It looks like it is actually, according to Frigid, is a buyout.
Oh, my God.
So it was reported. Oh, wait, no, that tweet has now been deleted.
What is
I don't know.